Hey guys, Southside Sippers. I'm John.
Hi, I'm Kaya.
This is our last stop on our
Louisville Adults Only trip. We hit up Old Forester.
Did
Did their distillery tour, which we've been talking about doing for a while. You can walk in and see the bottles, the bottling plant. But we actually did the tour.
Did the tour. Got to see Big Penny.
We did see Big Penny. Actually built that distillery around their still.
Pretty cool.
Came in on a big flatbed truck, all put together. I can only imagine the site. Used a giant crane, lowered it into the building, and built the whole distillery up around Big Penny. So
That place is pretty
three-story
cool.
tall.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. It's really neat. Neat inside. They do a lot of stuff on site, which is very surprising. They do most of their aging off site.
Do all of their aging off-site. So we saw the barrels. That was an experimental collection because that
they're doing, yeah.
Obviously the distillery that you can tour is very temperature regulated. So those barrels are going to be, they're going to age twice as slow as their still houses that are their temperature. They will fluctuate up and down. So that was stated at comfortable, what? 70
maybe
temperature. It's kind of neat to be the back end of the tour was through with all those barrels, and so it was kind of neat to see. But they actually make their own barrels, which is very unique. You could see the wooden slats all set up. You could see where they put them together. You could see the drying units they used to kind of dry those, the rings they used to put them together. And then I was just telling John it would be really cool to see like how they char the barrels. And then we went to Old Forester, and sure enough, they char the barrels right there in their distillery, and they do it for you on the tour. So we got a chance to see that. It was on a conveyor belt, and the flames came up. They had a big fume head overhead, so not quite as cool as the videos you see where they got all the barrels lined up and fire shooting out of the top. They probably do that for safety reasons, but it was still neat to be there for that process.
Very neat in the back area with all those experimental barrels, which is cool. When we were walking down the steps, they have a small little area, and I'm guessing you can set up a tasting because they were setting up a tasting for someone, and
not for
like
us.
a little couch. Yeah, we thought maybe it was for
we
us.
got all
we were
excited.
super excited,
not for us.
And then they took us past that, and I was like, oh, okay.
Gosh, what's some of the history of Old Forester? They are known as the oldest bottled bourbon.
First bottled bourbon.
First bottled bourbon. So during the Prohibition, they had a bunch of their bourbon stored back. They were using, obviously, for medicinal purposes. And actually, I think it was a doctor that was routinely prescribing this type of bourbon, whose name was Dr. Forester, and that's kind of how they got their name. But the idea was that they were actually putting it in a bottle for prescription purposes. So they kind of carry that honorary title of being the first bottled bourbon. Another kind of cool fact during that Prohibition period, and I don't remember the exact, did the founding owner own a hotel? Is that how that worked? And I don't remember where the hotel was.
Yeah, so Foreman, Brown Foreman, and I think it was, I don't know if it was Brown or if it was Foreman, I'm sorry. He owned a lot of different things, and one of them was a hotel. In Chicago.
And they stored a bunch of their barrels there, so he opened up a speakeasy on like the third or fourth floor, and it was very frequently attended by the notorious Al Capone. So kind of a neat little history there.
Very neat. Yeah, it was cool. Brown Foreman, they do a lot of different stuff, but they're, I would say, mostly proud of Old Forester. And
they're a sour mash as well, so that line is kind of carried through.
We did not buy this bottle there, but I had a bottle and we just opened it of the 1910. One thing I thought was very neat was that their recipe for all their different bourbons is the exact same. They don't change it. I think he said there was one new one, which I think is the 1924.
1924. They used a mash bill actually that's different and was not their own, if I recall. I think during that Prohibition period when they were running a little low on some of their mash bill, they had some of it stored. Do I remember that right?
They bought a distillery
They had a mash bill.
So they bought a distillery that had closed down over Prohibition that did not have a medicinal license to sell their whiskey as prescription. And I think that is what the 1924 is. I believe is
we're
what
not 100% on that. So
hey, you know what? Leave us a comment. Correct us if we're wrong.
Please do.
Tell us.
So this was the 4th or 5th tour. A lot of the facts were getting jumbled, but
there was a lot.
What is kind of cool, their bottles. This is the 1910. They have a 1920. It's called Prohibition style. That's literally what they were selling for prescription during the Prohibition, which was cool. This 1910. All of their bottles have historical significance of some kind. This is technically a double oak, so they had a really nasty fire. And for the barrels that survived the fire, they didn't know what to do with that bourbon, so they literally put it in another barrel. And it inadvertently did a double oak series, and it sat in that second barrel for a long, long time, because then they promptly forgot about those second barrels. So this is what does it say on the Old Fine Whiskey? When they finally busted open the barrels, or the tasters, the master distillers, like, this is Old Fine Whiskey, and they literally put it on the label. So the tour was cool. It ended up with a taste of their what's their first before this?
So we did. In the tour, we did all their tasting, 1897, 1890, I believe,
that's really
1910, and 1920. We got
and they went up in heat. This is a 93 proof. To me, to be honest, this does not taste like a 93 proof. I tend to be, as close you can get to the 100, 115. Type proof is typically my jam. Anything under that to me is just there's not enough complexity there. But this has got a really nice palate. It's got a really nice nose. There's a lot of complexity here.
A little smoke.
It feels a little hotter to me than a 93 proof. This is really good.
I'll be curious. Let us know, what's your favorite from Old Forester? I'm going to say, from what I've had, I really like the 100 proof single barrel. We really enjoy that. We've had some pretty good single barrel proofs that have been pretty tasty as well.
The 1920 is my favorite.
That's been your favorite so far?
Prohibition style. Now this, what do you get when you taste this? Because I do get a lot of smoke and a little oak on the back end.
Smoke and oak.
To me, a lot of the Old Foresters, and probably because they use that same mash bill, it almost has a bit of a licorice aftertaste, which I'm picking up on the back end of this. But the front end of this is really sweet. To me, it's and again, typical of a double oak, where you're going to pick up a lot more vanilla, sugar, caramel. Do you say you spilled some?
I spilled some.
Can't take you anywhere.
I'm a mess. I'm sorry.
Holy smokes! Do we need to get you a straw?
I might need a straw, just or a sippy cup.
Get you a sippy cup lid for your Glens. If you do the tour, they finish up with a little commemorative pin, and what was their chocolate? Something with an M.
I don't know, but it was good. It was marshmallow chocolate. Caramel?
Marshmallow, bourbon soaked caramel, bourbon soaked chocolate, and then bourbon sea salt on the outside. So it starts with an M and has a J in it and a K. It's the typing on that is.
It's not marijuana. It's not that.
Are you serious?
You said an M and a J and.
Oh my stars! Of course not.
Well, let us know. We were leaving and went through the gift shop, and what do we find here? We find a 1924. Now I know you're thinking, I already have a bottle, but I had to give a backup just in case we like it. We're not drinking this today just because I want a fresh, clean, no ideas of what it tastes like for a video we're going to do coming to you real soon, and I'm really excited about that video. So you'll have to keep watching.
It's a 10-year bourbon challenge.
You're not supposed to tell them.
Well, they got to know what to look for, dear. Look for the 10-year bourbon challenge. This 1924 will be in that challenge.
It'll be in there. I was a little hurt. We stopped in there on our way to dinner, second night there, just to see what they had, and I had just missed their 117 series. And I was very disappointed by that. So, whatever. Let us know what your favorite Old Forester is, and if you have any suggestions for us.
Till next time, like, subscribe.
Yeah, sip responsible, guys. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.